So we always talk about service level, we talk about cost, we talk about optimization. But is there any formal platform where the private sector and military can do some knowledge sharing or maybe learning best practice from each other?
The Army is not readily built on efficiency. We will always take effectiveness over efficiency, which tends to mean too much of commodities because you never want to get caught without something that you need. But what we have seen is we can do that a lot smarter. And we got those ideas from the private sector. The private sector also has learned from us about how to create supply chains through many different countries that normally would not have supported us. I think there's a great deal that we can learn from each other. I think one of the big things that corporate America is looking at is how we do leader development and the amount of effort that we put into education and part of the whole leader development model throughout the whole range from when somebody just entered to when they're a four-star general.
What have been the biggest challenge to bring in the troops, material, and equipment back home to U.S.?
The biggest challenge was getting back to those original vehicles and asking the material managers, do you want them back in the United States? If the answer is no, then do you have an agreement to give them or sell them to a foreign country? No. Do we want us to give them to the Afghans or sell them to the Afghans? No. Then I'm asking permission to destroy them in place, because the last thing we want to do is spend all that money, $120,000, to fly a piece of equipment all the way back to the United States from Afghanistan. Why would we spend $120,000 to fly it back to, say, Jacksonville and take it to a junkyard and have it junked, and get a couple $1,000s for the scrap metal?
After the global crisis in 2008, the public budgets have been shrinked. So how these changes have affected the supply chain in the Army?
When the money starts coming down, now hard choices have to be made. What's good enough? We can't afford to just throw money at problems because it doesn't exist anymore. So supply chain management had to become much more discriminatory rather than just large pushes of all kinds of things, and you might need 30% of what arrives there, the rest rots or goes bad.
In the corporate world, they are doing a lot of things to improve the system. So for the US military point of view, what are the key improvement areas in terms of logistic practices?
Having vehicles that can self-diagnose, instead of pushing an entire van of every part that could break on a vehicle, only push forward the parts that are actually broken or about to break on the vehicles. That reduces your logistics footprint, allows you the same aircraft to come in with much more mission critical things as opposed to one big van with every part that could be used. 3D printing may change logistics tremendously. I don't know what that looks like. I think we're very good in plastics and polymers. I'm not sure if you can fabricate repair parts. You certainly can't do that in the kind of military grade materials that we need right now, but 5-10 years from now, that could be amazing.
What has been the most important military logistics and supply chain innovation or technology?
Knowing what you need and not just sending everything that you could possibly need. That requires a diagnostic capability at the forward part. What do we need? It requires the ability of the warehousing back in the States to be able to rapidly get the things that are needed, and then the transportation infrastructure to get it there quickly. We're learning from the private sector on how to do that. It is pretty exciting, and my hat's off to the professional logisticians, because I've always just been in the, hey, I need fuel, and I'm in the middle of Afghanistan, I need 300,000 gallons per day, figure out how to get it here, and they would do it. And I was just like, wow, that's impressive.
It was great hearing all of your experiences in Afghanistan and all the lessons that you learned there. How does the U.S. military capture and share those supply chain lessons for future efforts?
One of the things the United States Army learned in the 1990s is to ruthlessly do what we call after-action reviews. So every time something happens, We sit down and we talk about what happened, how could it have gone better, what are the lessons that we've learned. We've created a whole organization at Fort Leavenworth, Kansas called the Center for Army Lessons Learned that captures all of those lessons so you don't have to relearn them in the next time. Thank you. Have a great day.